Okay, this is a picture of one of probably about 10,000 Brinks trucks, which are going to roll up to the National Basketball Association headquarters when their new media deal is done. If you will, Adam Silver is publicly pulling off some highway bank robbery that is absolutely amazing. We are going straight to the point tonight on the Underrated. We are going to talk about the NBA's new media rights deals, which, by the way, have not officially been signed yet, though 2/3 of the deal apparently are done. $76 billion is exactly what Adam Silver and his team over at the NBA are in the process of actually closing on. Now, this is going to be an 11-year deal. And about 3 years ago, you remember when Tom Brady was still playing for the New England Patriots? Well, back then, they started actually talking about this new media rights deal. And at the time, there was a report on CNBC in which the NBA basically said that they believed they were going to be able to achieve a $75 billion deal. Now, a lot of people at the time completely laughed at that. If you will, they scoffed at that actual number because, quite frankly, the NBA had a deal in place at the time worth $24 billion. Like, how are they actually going to play leapfrog and actually get the number to $75 billion in under 3 years? Well, apparently Adam Silver has actually figured out how to actually make that happen. Now, remember, this is an 11-year deal. The first part of the deal, of course, goes to the mothership, and that is ESPN, who is paying $2.6 billion per year for 11 years. The second part of the deal reportedly has Amazon jumping in with Amazon Prime for $1.8 billion per year. Now, Amazon is also going to get its own night of basketball coverage. We don't know yet what night it's actually going to be. And another part of that is Amazon is also going to get something with some exclusions around the in-season tournament. Those are at least the latest rumors of that portion of the deal. So you have Amazon spending $1.8 billion a year, which of course they can afford to do. I mean, their trucks show up at my house at least 5 times a day. The ESPN folks are going to pay $2.6 billion, and of course that's going to be spread out across their network of distribution points. So there's one deal left in place, and that deal, of course, could have gone to the folks over at TNT. They had a negotiation window, an exclusive negotiation window, which unfortunately for the folks over at TNT were unable to actually get a deal done. As soon as the clock struck midnight and that deal, that exclusion period was over, NBC lobbed over a $2.5 billion bid, which means it looks like winter is coming for the folks over at TNT. Now, no word yet if TNT is actually going to counter offer. And as far as the NBA is concerned, they were only looking for 3 media partners. So I'm not sure, unless TNT can work something out with NBC and do some sort of split deal, it looks like TNT is in for a cold winter, at least as it relates to the National Basketball Association. Now, if they were going to pony up $2.5 billion, why didn't they do it during their negotiation window? And by the way, TNT certainly would have had the money to actually pull off a deal of this magnitude as well. I think they were concerned about the actual legitimacy of the deal itself. In other words, it was going to double how much they were actually already paying for the National Basketball Association. Most likely, the people that count coins over at TNT were not convinced that they would actually turn a profit if they went ahead and closed this deal. Now, I've been in business for a long time, and sometimes it's important to have a lost loser. And in this particular case, it would have been fine for the folks over at TNT for a couple years to not make money if they're able to hold on to the National Basketball Association. Remember, this is an 11-year deal, which means once TNT is out in the cold, they will be out in the cold for probably 10 to 11 years. In other words, once again, winter is coming. And so TNT might just be stuck with the NHL as we move forward. Now, in terms of the deal size, $7.6 billion between the three partners in North America. This has nothing to do really with international broadcast rights. Now, the NFL did a similar deal, which was also an 11-year deal with CBS, NBC, Fox, and ESPN. And that was done in 2021, and the National Football League got itself $110 billion. I mean, you can just do the math now. If you look at what your perceived value is of the NBA versus the National Football League, which is absolutely the king of sports in North America, you can just imagine what Roger Goodell and the owners in the National Football League are starting to think about when they actually get down to negotiating a new deal for the National Football League in about 7 or 8 years. They are probably right now thinking that they're looking at something as crazy as this number is about to sound, might be looking at something north of $200 billion across all of their media partners the next time the National Football League sits down to do its negotiations. In terms of the leadership of Adam Silver, this, quite frankly, is a huge coup. Because if you look at the ratings and if you look at the NBA as a whole, Adam Silver has done a fantastic job riding the lower ratings back up a bit to a point where the media partners are willing to pay as much as they're willing to pay. I'm not sure that the ratings actually justify the dollar amounts that are being spent. But as I mentioned, lost losers in business certainly do make sense. In other words, you pay for something that you know you're going to lose money on, knowing that it's actually going to turn around and generate additional revenue for you elsewhere. In other words, other programming on those networks will benefit significantly from the networks actually carrying the rights to the National Basketball Association. All right, that is it. We have gone straight to the point on this particular deal. We will certainly keep you posted if anything major changes and if TNT is somehow able to avoid that whole winter is coming thing. For the Underrated, I am Dave DeBaugh, wishing you all a tremendous rest of your sports viewing day. To the guitar riffs we go.